Hello, this is Ainsley from A Mama with Trauma. Thanks for coming over to my page. Um, Today I wanted to talk about my personal experience and view on my motherhood and what it has led me to see and know, and just the power of it. And as a disclaimer, again, this page is not a place where I'm trying to seek vengeance towards people who have harmed me. I'm really not. I'm just don't even want to go down that path there where they are, and I wish them well. This page is simply a way for me to get out and express and put out there things that I think and I have perceived, and the conclusions that I've come up with, and lessons that I've learned through my trauma, through my motherhood, through just my life experiences. I'm not a professional. This is solely based off of my own personal experiences, my own conclusions, my own what I'm coming up with, or what I've found. So bear with me. I'm a human first and foremost, and my humanity is just it's as valuable as yours, and I appreciate you coming over here to watch this. So, with that being said, motherhood. My motherhood. It was the first time in my life where I found, when I became pregnant, it was the first time in my life where I knew without a shadow of doubt that I could do this thing. Up until that point, I had never, ever in my life, ever saw myself as a person, saw myself as, I didn't know my identity. I never knew I was just like bits and pieces of other people's perspectives kind of like stuck on me, like bits and flecks of paper to create an external illusion of who I was. But inside my mind and in my heart, there was nothing there. I'd been eroded so badly because of the abuse and trauma that I just was an empty shell. And I became pregnant at 32. So I was a little bit older. And I'm so glad that I was older, because I needed a lot of wisdom, to learn to prepare for what I was about to do with my motherhood. But yeah, so motherhood for me became the catalyst of an opportunity that I had never been given in my life. And it was natural. It wasn't some fictitious thing that somebody had created and said, oh, here you go, I made this for you, and then taken it away from me. Like, this was something singularly mine, and that I was going to be able to shape. I was going to be able to stand in. I was going to be able to truly ground myself in this. Because at the end of the day, I recognized that no one could be, and I believed this so truly, no one could be a better mother to this child than me. This child, I believed that this child had chosen me as their parent, and I rooted myself in that. I grounded myself so heavily in that truth that whatever was coming, whatever was about to unleash itself and changes, that no matter what, that this motherhood was going to be the catalyst of something worth fighting for. And I don't just mean for my child, but also for myself. And immediately, when I found out I was pregnant, the war began immediately. And it was subtle at first, but it perpetually grew and grew and grew and grew with family members, even my husband. Many things started happening, and I could feel inside in this voice of things that I knew I needed to do, but everyone externally had their own views and opinions on what I needed to do, and I had to make a decision and be like, cool, thanks for your opinion, but it's not welcome here, and it's not going to work for my kid. It's not, because you really have no idea what you're talking about. And I didn't mean that in a rude way. I never meant any of that in a rude way. I meant it as actual fact. Like, who is anybody to tell a mother how that mother should parent their child? No one else is the mother to that child. So no one, not even the father. Like, I couldn't be like, hey, this is, I think, how you need to father your child. I mean, I could see things, but like inextricably, like, no, you're gonna parent your child how you want to parent. And I pressed into my motherhood, and I had a great pregnancy. My child grew very well. Just normal. Had her natural. She came into this world full term, and had her in a facility that was designed for birthing, just like holistic birthing children. And 6 hours later, I brought her home. I we brought her home, and life started. And I didn't know how to emotionally connect to my child for like the first, I would say, 6 months. I didn't know. I did not know what was going on. It was the most crazy change happening within me, and I was so aware of it, so keenly aware of it, and it was tough. It was tough. I had been encouraged to be a stay-at-home mom, and again, I had an inkling of how I wanted to parent, but I was still very influenced by outside sources. So my mom and my grandmother were very influential on saying that they recommended I stay home. And I became an alcoholic. I found out very quickly that stay-at-home mom was not for me. And even that battle it was painful. Nobody knew. I don't even think anyone really cared. Like, I was not on the docket of anyone's conscious or radar. I was surrounded by people who really, they did not care about me. And I'm not shaming them. That's the reality of it. No one cared at all. And I didn't have any support at all. And I think the family members became supportive solely for my child. You know, they wanted time with my child and that kind of stuff. And in that, I took, I guess, I don't even know if I took, but I just gave my child to people who were willing to watch her. And when I say people, I literally just mean my mom. And I recognize now, I couldn't see anything. I was so confused and so disoriented, and there were so many changes that happened when you become a mom that I didn't recognize any signs or anything of there potentially being a harmful environment. And excuse me. So with that, at one point I remember being so intoxicated. I mean, it got bad. I was drinking vodka on an empty stomach almost every day, and doing household chores and watching a child. And there was a point where I was sitting on the top of the stairs looking in, and she was in her bedroom, and this voice just said, you know, if something happened to her right now, there's nothing you could do to help her. And that scared, that was like a slap across the face. Like, that scared me. I was like, oh, no, I didn't go through everything that I just went through to repeat this mess. Absolutely not. So I'm a very private person most of the time. I keep everything very close to my chest and very close to myself. That's why doing these videos is very vulnerable and exposing, but I guess that's the whole point. I got on Facebook and put I have a drinking problem, and you know, immediately everyone's like, what? Oh my gosh. And then they contacted my husband, and he was all like, you know, I didn't know you had blah blah blah. And just a lot of people being accusatory of me having a drinking problem, of not like, hey, how can we support you get better? So that could tell you a little bit of my situation. I did put myself in a 12-step program, and this was around Christmas time. So I was in this 12-step program for about 4 weeks, and then they said, oh, it's Christmas time, we're not going to do this for a month. Okay. Probably when I need the support the most is during the holidays and with my family. And so I resolved to doing it on my own, basically. So I cleaned myself up and I got sober by myself, alone. and I did it. And I also recognized that the stay at home thing, not for me. And it is okay to not want to be a stay-at-home mom. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. I recognize I was designed to be a mom that goes to work and finds someone who helps care for my child while I'm at work, and then I come and pick my kid up, and then I pour everything I've got into my child those times and on the weekends. That's the type of parent I was. And through that, within 1 week, I found somebody to watch my child and I got a job. And the lady who ended up watching my child is to this day, a dear, 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 dear friend, like one of my best friends. And the relationship that came out of that is golden. But yeah, so motherhood and how I basically knew I had so much trauma because as my child started getting older, I literally in my mind and in my heart noticed quite huge chunks of blackouts where as I was parenting, I'm like, there should be something here I should reference, and there's nothing. There's nothing for me to reference. And that's concerning. I have nothing to reference as a mother. And I need something to reference. I need something to go to as a parent. Why don't I have that? Why can't I access that? Where's this maternal instinct? Because I felt it when I was pregnant with her. Oh, believe me, I felt it. It was real. It was legit. But like the rest of it, to spin that off into like, now that my child's here on this earth, where is that? So I went through a couple things, and I knew I was going to have to get myself into therapy. I knew it. I mean, I had gone through so much already, and I would be, I recognize I would be the most horrible mother if I thought I could parent alone with all the shit and trauma that was inside of me, and it not come out and just spill right onto my child. I would have been a fool. And I was determined to not do that. I was determined to separate my trauma and everything that had happened to me, all the harm and the pain and everything, from my child, because my child needed to have her own trauma and experience and whatever, and nothing of mine. So help me God, nothing of mine be passed on to her. I took responsibility of that, like vehemently, and I am very adamant about that. Like, I am so passionate about mothers taking responsibility of their own trauma, no matter how hard you think it is or how painful it is or anything. Stop being selfish. Go get some help. Stop it. Drop everything. And I say this because I did that. I literally let my family crumble to the ground because I thought I had to hold all of this stuff. And I recognize the only thing that I need to really truly work on is myself. I love my child, and I will be there for my child the capacity that I can. I will not neglect my child, but I will go slowly, and I will handle this as patiently and kindly as I can, because one, I trusted my child's love for me. That is the most brilliant thing in the whole world that exists for a mother. The child's love for us, and that light that is shined on us as they get older, and that tenseness, because children, I believe, when they come through that tunnel, that dark tunnel, they are literally hauling out all the darkness that is within us as mothers. They're literally pulling it out when they are born and bringing it to light, because they're like, hey, we need you to deal with this, so there's space enough in this world for me in you. And I find so many mothers miss that. So many mothers just want to go back to who I was before I had a kid. And I'm no shame on you for that, but you miss the space that was made for your child when they were born. And that space, as painful as it is to feel literally rip open in you, it's so important to keep the space for that child, because they need a safe space to come to when things get difficult and the world gets crazy. Because guess what? It's going to. The world is going to literally try to kill your children. That's literally if you don't believe me, go look in the news right now. Gun violence, number one reason children are killed. I mean, it's just crazy. So that's not political. I'm not doing that. So I just really vehemently was passionate about how to keep this space open inside of me for my child, because I knew there was no one else in this role for my kid, and I trusted the role of my motherhood. I trusted the position that I was in, and I didn't know how complex it could be, but I wanted to be in it. I wanted to hold that position. And I see my child now, again, she's 6, and the work that I did and the things that done to keep her, like, the crazy things that I've gone through are just, it's insane. It's so crazy. It could be a movie. Just her life, the last 6 years could literally be a horror movie. One of those psychological twisted things. I really could. But anyways, enough that. Um loving my kid, but also realizing that my love alone is not sustainable. My love towards my child is not sustainable enough for this relationship. There has to be a way for me to accept and open up to receive her love back. And that was like very hard to do that, because I have never seen that I've never seen that example ever. I never felt love in a way that wasn't like harmful, or someone trying to like get to me or get something from me. So I am passionate about my motherhood. I really do probably need to talk a little bit more about it. I own my trauma. I recognize that if I do not continue to do the work that I'm doing, that it just will pass on the trauma, generational trauma. Paying attention to my conscience, my subconscious, like everything that's going on, why I'm motivated to do certain things, why I'm not, why when my child says something or whatever, it's reflected back to me, it makes me feel a certain way. All of those are such key factors and indicators. And I know it's essentially like there's that fear factor of like, oh, I'm the parent, but the fear is worth moving into. It's worth moving into to undo and understand, and to know, because in the fear is the undoing, is the way, and the way to undo the past, unhook from the past, move into the fear to undo the past, so you can be in the present with the future. And I wish that was motherhood. That is what was spoken of motherhood. That is what is conveyed of motherhood. And that the belief that innately you as the mother have everything that you have inside to do the job. Learning to love and learning to value and love the self, and know what the mother is capable of, fully capable of, and showing that to the child. Not just running your mouth. I very rarely talk to my kid about, I ask her questions, but I want to show you. I want to show you what it is like to live. I don't want to tell you, because if my words, no, it's not a what if. If I speak to you and my words are not matching up with what I am doing, that's craziness. And why would you even want to be raised that way? I don't even want to raise that way. So keep my mouth shut and do the hard things. Do the difficult things to provide my child with an opportunity to see her worth and value immediately. Now. Yes, now at 6. Because if you can hold on to that and identify that, if she can identify that. And just today, we were talking about, I was driving the car, and we were driving somewhere, and I didn't have my hands on the steering wheel. I was just kind of pressing the gas, because I know my car and I know how to drive. I just was moving the car, press the gas to move forward. It was a straight shot. I knew how long, to go without before I started needing to drive. And she's like, "Mommy, the car's driving by itself." And I was like, I guess it is. She's like, your hand's not on there. I was like, yes, because mommy knows how long I need to go before I need to drive this. I know how to drive this car. I know the how long it takes for it to start, the steering wheel to start going, or I am confident in my abilities to drive this car well. And she turns to me, she goes, I like myself when I'm on the monkey bars. I feel really good about myself when I'm on the monkey bars. That. I looked at her, I was said, kiddo, I said her name. Hold on to that. Hold on to that person and that feeling. Never let that go, because that is who you are. That is the truth of who you are, and the power that you have inside of you has nothing to do with anything mommy says or I do, has nothing to do with what your daddy says or what your daddy does or anybody else in this whole world. That power and what you feel, that is you, and that is worth knowing and holding on to. Motherhood is an amazing, tough journey, and whoever is out there trying to do parenting different and heal yourself up while you're dealing with trauma and all the other stuff, like, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And this might go for dads too. I can't speak to that. Obviously, I'm not a dad, but I do believe that there are fathers out there who, if they've decided to go down this journey, that they too can do this. They can do the undoing of the past, to become part of the present, to be there for the future. I believe that in every fiber of my being. And okay, thank you for listening to me. I just needed to get that out. It's so heavy on my heart today. I'm Ainsley from A Mama with Trauma, and I will see you next time.